Thanks for joining us, everybody. And yeah, we're going to get started. I'm Josh, the product marketing lead for Similarweb Sales Intelligence. Also, a fun fact about me is I am an avid Liverpool fan, so I've snuck in a few Easter eggs because I've got to build a presentation.
And I'm Valentin. I'm the product expert for the sales intelligence solution. In my free time, I'm a sommelier. So if you have any wine-related question about Cabernet Sauvignon or Pinot Noir, please reach out, or about sales intelligence as well.
Great. So yeah, so the topic for today's sales masterclass is a better way to sell to online businesses. Let's dive in just a little bit of a background about who we are at Similarweb. So if you're not familiar with Similarweb, we are the official measure of the digital world. So imagine Google Analytics, but for any website in the whole world. A bit about the company: we were founded 10 years ago, over 1,000 employees, over 3,200 customers, and are listed on the New York Stock Exchange. But since we're here today, we're talking about sales. Let's talk a little bit about Similarweb Sales Intelligence. And the way we regard ourselves is that we're the best sales intelligence tool for selling to online businesses. And why online businesses is because, like I said before, that being the measure of the digital world, we're looking at online businesses' websites. We have over 20.4 online businesses. We have over 370 million contacts in those companies. So contact details, emails, phone addresses for the people working in those companies. And we have 100 filters, so 100 ways to divide up those companies, to segment them so that you're able to arrive at the perfect audience for you. And as you can see just below that, some of the biggest companies in the world that are selling to online businesses are in fact our customers. So when we talked about the filters, these are just some of the examples of the filters that we're giving you, so that we give you the enablement, we give you the ability to filter that digital world into a segment that you can address. So whether that be based on traffic and engagement metrics, or how much monthly traffic is that website getting, firmographic data, so how many employees does the company have, or where is their headquarters, how much money do they make every year, those types of details on a company. We talk about marketing channels in our platform. We have the ability to filter websites based on how much traffic they're getting from paid marketing, from organic search, and other marketing channels. Technology, so what technologies are being used on their websites, where in the world they're getting their technologies, and all of these things so that you can find the right accounts and uncover pain points to drive those deals to the finish line. Now, I know we're talking a lot about Similarweb, we just need to kind of set the foundation, so when we dive a little bit deeper into the sales masterclass, we'll have a little bit more context. So the underlying value of this data set and finding the measure of the digital world is to focus your sales efforts where they'll have the greatest impact. So with your SDRs, helping them find qualified leads, account executives and sales managers being able to discover the pain points of the companies that they're trying to sell to, for account managers, helping them monitor their target accounts for churn risks or for upsell opportunities, for sales ops or growth teams to take this entire data set and enrich your CRM so that you're able to do better lead qualification, better lead enrichment, and then for strategic and executive teams to be able to measure your total addressable market, so every company that you should and can be targeting, as well as being able to do better territory planning. So being able to segment the companies and the trends in each territory to prioritize accordingly. Now, we've talked a lot about these big numbers. We've talked a lot about these high-level 370 million leads. We're talking about 20.4 million accounts, 20.4 million companies. If anyone in the audience has enough SDR resources to call 370 million contacts, please feel free to put your hand raised up. But for the most part, our company's resources are finite. And in most cases, you don't need more leads, you need the right leads. And you need to be able to reach out to them at the right time so that they're more likely to respond to you. And you need to reach out with the right message so that you're able to get their attention. I think that's where we're going to start the sales masterclass and start the walkthrough of how can we do just that with Similarweb. So Val, do you want to take over at this point?
Yeah, thank you very much, Josh. And this is where we jump into the platform in order to show you the value and different use cases based on what we spoke about. So In order
Yeah.
for everyone, for everyone to, I think, better grasp all the different functionalities and the value of the product, I would like to, impersonate a persona, right?
A little bit of role play. Let's do it.
Exactly. Let's do a little bit of role play, and actually, I thought of acting as SDR for,
Yeah.
let's say, PayPal, right? We all know
Perfect.
PayPal.
I've heard of them. Yes.
Exactly. We heard of them very well because they're also one of our customers.
Yeah. We have to be a little bit careful not to play them up too much because also we have another 18 of the biggest payment providers in the world that are also customers. So we'll try and be as objective as we can be.
Exactly. So I'm gonna act like I'm an SDR at PayPal in the SMB team in North America, in the US, right?
Makes sense.
And what's my job, right? I need to find qualified leads, find the right companies, find the right personas, and how I can do that, and how sales intelligence can help me, is by setting up first of all my ICP, right?
Your ideal customer profile.
Exactly, my ideal customer profile, and this is how I'm going to do it in the platform. So we have here the advanced search. And as Josh mentioned earlier, we have this database of more than 20 million companies here with more than 300 million contacts. And with the filters on the side that are divided into different categories, I can create my ICP, meaning I can narrow down this huge database of 20 million websites to find exactly the website that are qualified and important for me.
So where would you start? I mean, that's a lot of filtering to be done. Where is your first place to start?
Exactly. So let's start. As I said, we're from PayPal. So let's start with the basics, right? The basics are going to be what kind of company I'm selling to, right? I'm selling to e-commerce, right? That's where I'm selling my services. So here in the type, I can select e-commerce. I'm just clicking here on the box. And as you can see, already my database is being refreshed. The list is getting narrowed down. We went from 20 million to 4 million companies. That's just the beginning, right? Now, the second, and I'll say the most important, is to set up also my territory and the type and the size of the company I'm targeting, right? Every SDR knows that. And that's what they start with. So I'm going to go here to the company filters, and I'm going to set the headquarter locations, right? Because we said I'm from the American team. I'm going to look at companies that are located in the US, meaning legally headquartered in the United States, right? So I can select the country. We have, by the way, more than 130 countries set in the United States. And again, as you can see, I don't need to click on update or anything. The list is being refreshed automatically. And the next step is also to look at the employee headcount, right? Because I'm targeting, as I said, SMB. So I don't want to have those huge enterprises that we can see, by the way, here, all the first companies that I have at the top of the list. So I want to be sure to reduce the number of headcount. And I can do that also by annual revenue, right? But I just want to do it by headcount. This is how we do it at PayPal. I'm looking at companies that have less than 1,000 employees. Make sense, Josh?
Makes sense. You could differ that methodology from company to company. So if your methodology would be revenue or other metrics, you could do that differently.
Exactly. And I can play here with the range. I can even target only mid-market or very small company if I want to, less than 50 employees. I really can play this all the way around.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. So that's for the basics. Now, I also want to target maybe a specific vertical, right? I'm targeting different industries. In our case, PayPal is targeting basically all transactional website, right? But in order to make this a little bit more concrete, let's try to focus on specific industries, right? And I thought about if I go here in the industries, by the way, we have around 300 industries and sub-industries. I thought about going into, something classic, like we all want to do some shopping and, so I thought about looking at the apparel industry. What do you think, Josh? Sounds good?
Sounds good. A little bit of retail therapy. Never
retail
hurt
therapy,
anyone.
like sports also. I know a lot of people in the audience, I'm sure, are doing a lot of sports. So let's look at sports apparel as well.
Yeah.
And I also thought about everything around cosmetics and makeup. We all like to look good, right?
Yeah. Let's try it. Let's put those categories in.
So I'm putting those three verticals here, and I'm also reducing, as you can see, my total addressable market, or my list of potential prospects, to a little bit less than 70,000 prospects. But that's only the beginning, right? Now I need to really be more focused on what can be relevant for me. And in order to do that, I can use, for example, this unique filter. By the way, we just released it, the e-commerce online revenue filter.
I love the shiny new green beta thing when you release a new feature. It's a nice feeling.
Yeah, exactly. And this is so important for me because, there are so many websites out there. How do I know if they make money, right? It's hard. Even okay, maybe they have lots of employees, but maybe they're not doing well. So for me, it's very important as a payment company in that case to understand.
To understand how many transactions they're doing, to be able to measure the website based on transactions, not just on other things.
Exactly. How much money they're making online. And so I can here play with that. And what I want to do, because I'm targeting, as we said, SMBs, is I I want to go maybe from, less than $5 million per year, but more than $100,000 per year, right? So I'm really selecting these SMB mid-market companies, and I'm here reduced from 20 million in 5 minutes, 13,000 companies in those three verticals that we mentioned earlier. So it's really super important to do that, but that's not the end, right? I also want to exclude here all regional domains that are, companies that have websites for other territories. I want to target,
just the US based.
Exactly. So I'm going to add here .com. And also I want to exclude all the companies that are already working with us, right?
Right.
So I want to be sure to exclude here the technologies, and we have access to, we identify around 4,700 technologies that we track and monitor on a daily basis. So I want to be sure to exclude all the ones that we know are already using PayPal.
Yeah.
So I'm going to add this condition.
If you had access to PayPal CRM, you'd be able to do that more effectively to make sure you're excluding all existing customers, right?
Exactly. That's a great point, Josh. So what we can do as well is to connect our CRM to Similarweb. And by connecting my CRM to Similarweb, I can do multiple things. I can export my records from Similarweb into my CRM directly, but I can also exclude the results. I can also exclude all the companies that are already in my CRM. And I can do that here in the exclude filter. As you can see here, I can exclude by Salesforce or HubSpot companies. So yeah, of course, if I had my CRM connected, as PayPal, I would obviously just exclude the results by the companies that already exist in my records, in my CRM, right? So we went down from 20 million to around 3,000 companies. And that's not the end. I want to be sure that I'm also getting a little bit into traffic. I want to be sure that I'm engaging with companies that have a certain, like a minimum of threshold, of traffic. So I'm going to just look at the companies that have more than 5,000 visits. So I'm excluding the very, very, very small websites to get a proper list of around 2,500 websites in those verticals. What do you think?
I think it sounds good. I think you've narrowed it down into the right accounts, but now how do we go from the accounts where these are the right fit for you to the accounts where it's a good time to reach out to them?
Exactly. It's a great question, George. So 2,500, it's a great pipeline for me, right, as an SDR. Yeah. But I don't have enough time to reach out to all of them. And I don't know if it's the right time to reach out to all of them, right? So I need to prioritize somehow. Yeah. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that by using what we call the sales signals. And in order to do that, what I want to do, first of all, is to save my search.
Yeah.
Why am I saving this search? Because I'm saving here the filters. I'm saving the criteria. So every time I'm going back into Similarweb platform, I can, first of all, I don't need to put the filters again to take those minutes. It's already there. Yeah. And also I can see new websites that they just fit those criteria today and they didn't fit it last week or last month, right?
So they passed the revenue threshold if they've
or the
increased their traffic.
Or any of the other criteria.
So it's a dynamic set of filters.
Exactly.
So you're always being alerted whenever a new company matches your ideal customer profile.
Exactly. So I'm setting my search here. And by the way, this is super dynamic, right? So every time I can have new website coming in, website coming out that are not relevant anymore. So for that, this is really great. And what I'm going to do on those 2,500 websites is that I'm going to apply signals. You're going to ask me, like, what do you mean? What are those signals? So
I've heard of them.
You've heard of them. So signals, it's also a great feature that we just released, I think 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
That is a game changer for sales team. Basically, you can now add on your list, on your prospect or customer lists, alerts that are based on criteria that are important for you. For example, news. Okay, you want to in your pipeline or in your book of business, you want to see the companies that they just got funding round last month, or they just opened a new office somewhere, they just launched a new product. So we have this new data set of news and events, which is amazing, that helps SDR specifically, right? In that case, to really find something positive about the company, to reach out and to break through the noise and to break the ice with the customer, right? With the prospect.
So it's contextualizing your outreach because you understand that they're going through a positive phase as a company, they're going through a negative phase. And that could flavor your outreach, and you could also tell you that it's the best time to reach out, it's the worst time to reach out, right?
Exactly. And it's not only about news. We have different type of signals, and I love to show that to you, but just to, speak a little bit more about the concept is that I put those alerts and then I get email alerts directly in my inbox saying like, hey, today you have those websites that based on your alerts are hot right now, right? So I can't miss any opportunity right now,
it
Josh.
comes to you.
Exactly.
You don't have to go to find the leads come to you.
Exactly. So I'm just going to click here on the select sales signals here. And here I've already set up some signals, but I just want to show you the different type of signals that I can apply here in this list in order to uncover the relevant website, the relevant companies I should reach out today.
Okay.
So as I said, we have signals around news and events, and it's really amazing. We have around 30 topics that are based around leadership news. So you can see executive news, people left the company or retire. We have growth, a lot of news around growth, which is amazing, expanding existing offices, opening a new market, launching a new product, signing a new client, strategy news around acquiring companies, being acquired by companies, investment, super strong signal, right? If you want to target startups, new startups, you want to be sure that to catch the one that they just received investment right now. So this is really great. We have the new signals and we have other type of signal. We have, of course, traffic signal. So traffic signal, right? It's the core of Similarweb, right? So we're using our unique data about traffic and engagement in order to understand when a website is growing, when it's declining, but not only globally. You can even decide like, show me in my list all the websites that are growing in display ads in the US.
Yeah.
Or in Canada.
They look pretty robust. Like, do you want to open one up and just like you can actually look at customizing one? Yeah,
exactly. So let's add a traffic signal for the example, right? So here I can decide to see all the websites that their monthly visits or page. I can basically decide traffic or any marketing channel that is relevant for me.
So display ad visits, if you're like an ad tech company, a lot of these other metrics might be interesting to you. I know we talked a lot about PayPal, but a lot of these metrics are super interesting for ad tech companies or for marketing technology companies so that they can understand the effectiveness or how effectively a company is doing their marketing.
Yeah, exactly. So for example, I can select here display ad visits, right? So I can see, show me all the company in my list that they grew in the last quarter more than 30% of their traffic coming from display ads, or the opposite, or they decline their traffic in the last quarter in display. It means that they're having an issue or they're not investing anymore in advertising, or maybe that's the right time or not the right time for me to reach out as an ad tech company, right? If we take that example. So I can really customize the traffic signals to really get something that is relevant for my business.
Yeah.
Now, if I go back to the type of signals, we also have technology signals. Technology signals are super strong, right? Because they can help you to understand whenever one of your prospects actually just started working with one of your competitors or stopped working with one of your competitors. So for example, let's take again the example of PayPal, right? I want to understand, okay, show me when one of my prospects is stopped to use.
Don't mention any names. I'm pretty sure they're also a customer.
So I'm not going to mention the names, but stop using one of those competitors. So maybe it's the right time for me to reach out and say, hey, interesting to know that you stopped working with X. Let's start working with us. Or the opposite. And you can also set up the signal as show me all the companies that they start working with the technology that I integrate with. For example, an e-commerce platform or a shipping technology that I integrate with very well. Yeah. So this can be really super relevant for actually most of the use cases, right? And in this case, I actually set up a signal because I want to monitor in my list the e-commerce tech stack. So I just want to be sure I said install the supported integration, e-commerce meaning show me every time there's a change in the e-commerce technology stack.
Yeah, so that would be companies. Shopping carts, e-commerce platform, anything related.
Exactly, any technology related to e-commerce. For me, it's a signal showing me, okay, those companies are probably investing in their e-commerce right now. So it's maybe the right moment for scalability, robustness using PayPal.
Yeah, right. Makes sense.
And we also have last type of signal, which is the ad network. Of course, not relevant that much for PayPal, but relevant for, how do we say, advertising, marketing tech, right? To understand whenever one of my prospects or customer start to use an ad network or stop using an ad network, right?
Yeah.
So we can set also those signals up. So I'm just going to close that because I already set up those signals. And you know what, Josh? I can see here all the different signals and I can see the results within my lists. How many just answer that signal, right? So for example, I can look at, okay, show me all the companies that they grew in the last quarter by 30%. And I'm clicking on that signals now. And it's taking my lists of how many we had, 2,500. And it's showing me only the 1,100 ones that they are growing super fast in the last quarter. Those are the ones that I want to save and I want to send them one outreach that is based on their growth, right? I don't need to send a different outreach for each of them. I can just send one outreach based on growth in the last quarter, right?
Yeah.
Because they all answer that.
Yeah. So how would you take that next step of moving it from a dynamic list, which you've created these search, to having a finite list that you're going to start, okay, this month, this Monday, I'm going to come into the office. What am I going to do first thing Monday morning as an SDR?
Yeah, exactly. So what I'll do is this. Now I have those 1,000 companies that are growing. They are my ICP, and they are growing. So what I want to do is that I want to save those companies. Now I'm going to take a snapshot. I'm going to capture those 1,000 companies and I'm going to save them in a list, in a static list on the side. And that's the list I'm going to work on this week, right?
Yeah.
And then I can work on the list. If something is irrelevant, I can take it out of the list. I'm going to work on that list. I'm going to look at the contacts that are for each company. I'm going to look at the right insights to customize my outreach message. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to save it to my list and I'm going to start working from my list. Okay, so I can click here, save to my list. I can select all the websites and I can save them to a list. I actually already created this list. So we're gonna save a few seconds here. So I'm gonna go here to my list, Josh, and I have here multiple lists, of course, based on the different type of customers I'm looking after, right? I'm targeting. So here I have my PayPal SMB prospects for this quarter. Okay, and I'm going here. I have those companies. I'm going to rank them by monthly visits here, and it's the same idea. Now it's only my list. So it's my small list of 1,000 something website. I can see the name of the list here. I also have access to the filter. I also have access to the signals. By the way, I can see here the different signals for each of those websites. And now I'm going to start to reach out, right? But you know what?
Should we take it maybe even one step back? Like, how would you, we still got quite a big list. How would you refine it even more, saying, what is the key value proposition that you would be offering? As like a payment provider, what is your key differentiator that you can offer these companies?
It's a good question. So what I can do here, for example, is like, okay, you know what? Those are all those growing companies. Now, I want to tackle first the ones that are having a lot of international traffic, meaning the ones that have consumers abroad, and they probably would be interested by using PayPal because we offer this cross-border payment solution, right? Which is great. So I want to be sure maybe to target first the ones that are growing, plus they're having growth internationally. Okay. And this is something so easy to do here with Similarweb, is that I can just use what we call the international visits traffic. Remember, all those companies are American companies, right? Yeah. So what I can do is that I can set up here and say, okay, now in this list, filter by only the ones that are having at least 20% of the traffic outside of the United States, right? So now I'm getting, you see, from 1,000 something, 530 websites that grew more than 30% in the last quarter, and that have more than 20% of the traffic outside of the US, meaning international consumers, meaning a need to pay in other currencies. It answers all my requirements for PayPal to target them. Yeah. So I'm looking at those companies. I can still apply those signals about news and events, to find like a nice pitch.
Or even use them on a proactive basis. So you've got a list of companies and then you could follow up with them on a daily basis on saying, okay, this company was featured in the news.
Exactly.
It's much more manageable when you have a smaller list, I think, like this, like 300 companies or 500 companies. It's much more manageable. So exactly. Which one are we going to tackle first? Should we start at the top of the list and work our way down?
Yeah, exactly. So let's start with the top of the list. I'm seeing this first website, ties.com. Let's look at what it is. So I have here the sidebar view. Amazing. I click here. I have all the relevant information for me as an SDR in order to qualify the account, right? So I'm looking, the company is called Ties. It's located in the United States. I have the address. I can see the annual revenue. It fits the market, right? What I'm looking for, employees 10 to 50, small companies still making some money. I have here, I'll say a resume, a summary of what they're doing, right?
A little overview on.
A little overview, the average total visits. So I can say, wow, 1 million visits per month. It's a big website, right? Like they have a lot of potential. I can see the visits year over year, they grew more than 80%.
So that's significant.
It's significant.
This is a company on the app.
Exactly. And I can see here something even like so powerful for me as a payment company is that I can see the geo breakdown. So I can see where this traffic is coming from, where this 1 million visits are coming from. So I can see that even though it's an American company, a lot of the traffic is coming from Argentina, right? So I need to check that out. Maybe I can, that's the right message, right? I can message the people working there and say, hey, we're PayPal, we offer those cross-border payment, we support Argentinian currency, let's have a talk. You're growing, let's have a talk. So I can, by the way, here, look at the site trends as well. And I can see here, this website is growing very well, right? You can see the trend here. And I can start to look at the contacts, which is really amazing here. I go here, and that's one way to do it. And here I have access to all the people working in this company. I can see their name, their job title. I can see we have the phone number on the email of the.
No, don't click. We don't want to get into GDPR issues now on a live webinar. But
thank you for reminding.
Let's pretend we clicked.
Exactly. Let's pretend we click.
We have their email address.
Exactly.
So how would you create a message for Omar, the CEO of Ties.com? What's the next step?
So the next step would be, of course, to use the growth. So I can, for example, take a screenshot out of this and say, congratulations, you're growing in the last quarter. And I would add something around, the international traffic in order to legitimate the fact that I want to sell them cross-border payments, right? That's what I do. I think we have an example here in the presentation. But before I do that, I just wanted to show you how I can find contact in a bulk, right? Yeah. So for all these 530 now we're just focused on one, but if I want to focus on all the companies at the same time, I can also filter by contact, meaning I can set up here in the filters the location of the contact I want to reach out to. So I'm going to put here United States, because again, I'm reaching out to American companies, American employees. And here I can create what we call an employee persona. So I'm just going to create a persona, meaning what type of people I want to reach out to in this company. It's not anyone.
You sure you've created enough personas? You seem to have quite a few there.
I'm working very hard, Josh. I need a raise. So I'm going here. I can look at the departments. So I can look at, for example, engineering and technical, IT, because again, we're talking about the technology that I want to implement.
Someone's going to have to implement this on their website, site-wide, so maybe operations.
Operation as well. And here I can also look at the seniority. So because, I'm looking at small companies, I want to be sure that I'm targeting people with high seniority that are making decisions, right? So I'm just going to select those. As you can see, I'm going to call this payment persona. And I just enabled here this profile, and you can see it's refreshing the contacts. And it's showing me now only the contacts within those 530 companies that fits that criteria. They're in those departments in the company, and they have this high level of seniority. I can reveal them one by one. I can reveal them in a bulk if I want, right? I can select all of them or select, the ones that are interesting for me.
Yeah.
And more than that, I can export all of this into my Salesforce or to my HubSpot. So I can take all those contacts, just throw them into my CRM and start working with marketing campaigns in my CRM directly.
Makes sense. And I think it's also like a little bit of a fundamental shift, whereas a lot of traditional sales intelligence platforms, you start off with the contact, you start off with the people that match your relevant job titles, and then you maybe work your way backwards, or you can work your way from a company level. But I think the fundamental, what we've talked about in the session, is finding the right accounts first, and then working your way to the contact level only at the end, which is a little bit of a shift here, where you're minimizing the audience in order to find the perfect contacts.
Exactly. That's the idea.
So let's talk about that email.
I'm just gonna put it back here.
Let's just talk about the email.
The outreach email, right?
The outreach email. So we're going to talk about an email that you could send, and this is just an example. You can go a lot more personalized in this, or you could go a lot less personalized in this. But I think that this is a good balance. If you're talking about volume, if you're talking about a way to integrate data in a way that's not too high touch, but at the same time making it personalized enough that shows you understand them and it's not all about you, and how you can help them. So again, this is just an example. So for example, if this was for Ties.com, you'd say something like, "Hi Omar, I'm going to be honest, I don't know too much about Ties, but I do know a thing or two about online payment technologies that could be a perfect fit for Ties.com." Again, that's actually a great domain. It's definitely, we're onto a winner there. I see that, more than that, I see that a certain percent. So that's the data that you could take from the Similarweb platform. So say, for example, we saw that more than 40% of their traffic was outside of the United States. When it comes to international markets, we're considered the top solution. Is it worth getting on a call? So you're essentially showing them that you understand their business, you understand the challenge that they're facing, and you show them how you can help them, all with using Similarweb data. There wasn't a ton of, we didn't spend hours researching. We spent about 5 minutes researching a company. We have enough information on them to be able to build a initial business case. Again, if you want to go account-based marketing and do a lot more high touch, that's what I think. Let's dive into that now.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And just to add on what you just said, it's just changing the mindset from just like reaching out to anyone with the same message to just like pinpointing the right personas with a customized message and placing myself as a consultant, and not only as a salesperson, because I understand the market, I understand the company and what's going on around.
I mean, it's also great that the SDR also happens to be Argentinian.
Yeah, it's very good for you. Yeah, exactly. So now let's say that we send this email to the CEO of the company because we got the email from Similarweb. He was really impressed by the data. He was like, wow, it's interesting.
Like, yes, let's meet. It's great.
Let's meet. So now, as an SDR, or even if I pass this account to the salesperson, you need to prepare to the call, right? You need to have more information to know what you're going to talk about, to, again, put yourself as a consultant. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to go here to ties.com and I'm going to open the company overview, the account review, where I can deep dive into a little bit more hardcore data, I call it, so I can really here find all the relevant data to have a great discussion with my prospect. So here again, I'm getting here some information about the company, the industry. I can see, okay, it's not in my CRM yet, so fine. I can see the industry they're in, the different industry tags that they have, the type of clothes they're selling. Again, the range, employee, revenue, super, super important. I have here a glimpse of the total visits that they're having last month, as well as the estimated potential transactions, right?
Which is super important.
Yeah.
So as a payment company, you want to be able to understand approximately how many transactions are happening on this website.
Exactly. Now, if I scroll a bit down, I also have the monthly visits over time. So I can actually compare in the last 2 years how well they're doing year over year. So here I can see that they're going very well. The orange is going to be what happened between 21 to 22, and this is from the blue is from 22 to 23. Yeah. So I can see that the website is growing very well in the last 2 years. And also I have here more information about the visits geo breakdown. So now I can actually see from each territory, from each country, where the traffic is coming from, but not only how qualitative is this traffic. So for example, I can see here that they have a lot of traffic from Argentina, right? But I can see that the number of pages per visit is lower than the United States, and the bounce rate is very, very high.
Yeah.
Why that's so? Probably because they don't have a buying experience, because maybe they can't buy with Argentinian currency from the website.
Yeah, it could be, but it's also, you can see that bounce rate is not problematically high. So you can see that this is, in fact, intended traffic for this website. So it's not in the 90s. It's not people coming in straight away bouncing off the site. It's people coming into the site, exploring and maybe encountering some sort of difficulty. So there is a good initial indicator there that there's more to be explored from that market.
Exactly. I have here access as well to my signal. So I can see here, remember the signal that we set up before? Yeah. I can have access to the signals here. So I can see that obviously they grew in the last quarter by more than 40%. And they installed the shipping technology a year ago. This is also valuable information for me because I might have also a great integration with UPS. It's something I want to have in the discussion,
Yeah.
And then I can start to look at website performance. By the way, we have tons of different, menus and pages. I just want to keep it simple, right, for today. And if I'm looking here at the performance, I can start to compare ties.com with the competition. So automatically here, Similarweb is telling me those are similar sites. Those are competitors of Ties. So I can see the Tie Bar, Ota, Tie Guys, Brook Brothers, and now it's going to compare all the different metrics. So I can showcase that to my prospect, right? So for example, let's say I'm also as PayPal, Brook Brothers is my customer, right? And those other websites as well. And I can even change them. I can put websites that I work with.
You can pre-populate the dates and you can kind of frame the discussion, right?
Exactly.
I also think it's so powerful because on the one hand, a lot of sales leaders want their teams to be doing research on a prospect before getting on a call. And a lot of sales managers and a lot of account executives aren't exactly sure where that research should start.
Yeah.
So that's on the one hand. On the other hand, when they do the research and they come up with metrics, they need to be able to put it in context of an industry. So this is perfect for what they need.
Exactly. And you can see here, I can just, have the conversation and say, we are working with your competitors. And as you can see, there are metrics around, loyalty of visitors. As you can see, they are much better here than you. The monthly unique visitors, people tend to come more into websites that we work with. So all of these data help you to, convince this prospect that working with your solution will help them to increase their metrics also in their business.
Yeah.
So that's just, a quick example how you can use the data here to, be prepared in a sales meeting as well.
Yeah. And again, there's so many other metrics. I'm just scanning down the left-hand column. There's so many metrics that would be relevant to ad tech, to publishers, to selling, to online media, those types of things. But I think for this use case, I think we've covered the brief overview of how easy it is to get the most value out of this. The first question is, what are the metrics that this type of data will help you impact? Like, what is this going to help? What results is this going to help you improve as a sales manager? So in terms of like, I can even take that one. I think that when you're talking about the value of sales intelligence, you're talking about improving metrics like shortening sales cycles. You're talking about metrics like increasing sales velocity, the type of metrics that every sales leader nowadays is measured upon, especially the fact that buying cycles are getting longer. You want to be able to have anything that's going to help you make that cycle shorter by anchoring the deal to very clear value, by anchoring the deal to metrics that actually matter to them, so that there's more of a drive to solve the problem.
Exactly. So what I'll say is that by using sales intelligence, as a salesperson, I go much faster, I waste less time, I find prospects that are more qualified because I'm targeting online businesses, and I close more deals because I'm using the data to, give a lot of strength to my discussion and to my points.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So I've got another few questions. We're going to go a little bit more into like the technical details here. So what are the different ways that Similarweb can deliver this data? Is it just the platform, or are there other ways that Similarweb can deliver this data?
No, so it's a great question. We also have API. So we're also offering API packages to our customers, meaning that you can actually integrate the data directly into your CRM. So for example, you can enrich your Salesforce directly with, traffic and engagement metrics, with firmographics metrics. So for example, think about all the inbound leads that you're getting in your CRM, and you need to score them, and you need to transfer them to the right team based on territory, based on the revenue that they're making, the number of employees, and also the traffic, right? Again, if you're a payment company, a shipping company, an ad tech company, those are metrics that are super important for you to qualify an inbound leads. And you can get all this data directly in your CRM using our API as well.
Yeah. Another question here about online revenue. Can you tell me a little bit about how do you calculate online revenue, and why is it a good metric?
Yeah. So what makes it so accurate and actually I think the better here in the market for online revenue is that we're using our unique metrics, our unique data about traffic and engagement. So basically, we developed a model that we train with real data that we have for a lot of websites, and it's based on the visits, the number of visits. It's based on the average basket value. It's going to be based as well on the audience, the age of the people going on the website, the different regions where people are coming from. All of these together, we have more than 20 different metrics that help us to really understand, an indication, right? It's not going to be an accurate number, but it's going to be a bracket about they're making between $1 to $5 million online revenue based on this, and then we can compare this with real data on websites that we know exactly the real revenue, and they have the same, the same characteristics.
Yeah,
makes it very accurate.
One more question, I think we'll wrap it up, is I see that you've talked about sales signals. Is this similar to buying signals, and is this connected to intent data in any way?
Yeah, so yes. So some people call it sales signals, some people call it buying intents, buying signals, and it's also connected to intent signals. It's actually a data set that we're going to add in the platform very soon. So we're also going to add intent data, meaning to really understand how ready is my prospect to buy my product or to buy something in my environment. So yeah, you should stay tuned to see that coming in the
very exciting release. We can already confirm here that we've partnered with Bombora, and we're going to be launching intent data in our platform very, very soon. So there we have it, everyone. I think we're going to wrap it up for then. It was great working with you on this.
Thank you.
Had a lot of fun. And yeah, hopefully you'll be able to find those right leads at the right time with the right message. And please get in touch with us if you have any questions. And thanks for joining.
Thank you,
Bye,
everyone.
everyone.
Bye bye.